What's going on, everybody? This is Scott, also known as ChaChingKing, and welcome back to episode 2 of my Reseller Road Talk. And today I am on the back road that goes to Penelope, and we'll see a few cars on the way, very few houses, and almost nothing to interfere with my talk. And we're just going to take it easy. Today I want to talk about something that I think I'm doing wrong. In fact, I know that I am. And it makes me question, if I'm even capable of changing it. Here's the deal. I've told y'all many times, I have been on eBay since 1999. That is over 25 years now. And I don't remember when, but some time ago, eBay implemented a change in how the customers could report the things that they have on buyers. They instituted the feedback system. And I didn't think one way or the other about it at the time, but over time, I have become just borderline obsessed with my own feedback about trying to keep it perfect. So I have a bit over 7,000 feedback and some 18,000 sales. And some of the things that eBay has done recently, I think are terrific. But the reason that they changed was an FTC ruling that the Federal Trade Commission, it changed how businesses could remove negative feedback. If a business is seen to be suppressing negative feedback, then they can get hammered by the FTC. And there used to be some automatic removals of negative feedback by eBay. Well, they had to stop that because they don't want to be in the crosshairs of the Federal Trade Commission. What they did in response to that is they started leaving automated feedback, where if you mail something off on time and all of those things, even if the buyer doesn't leave you feedback, you'll get automated feedback. I think that's terrific. I think that's especially terrific for brand new eBayers because it allows you, as you complete sales, to build that feedback up, build that positive feedback up, because it's really crucial when you're just getting started. The downside, of course, being that they're not automatically going to remove negative feedback. In fact, it's going to get much harder, I think, going forward. So for someone like me, that creates a bit of an issue. And it's this. I have, like I said, a bit over 7,000 feedback. If you scroll through my feedback, going all the way back to when they first started leaving feedback, I do not have a single negative feedback. Not one. It is absolutely pristine, perfectly clear. In fact, I probably don't have 5 neutrals over that period of time. The downside to that is that I worry about it, and I worry about it at a level that probably causes some issues with my business. Let me give you an example. So if I get a complaint from a buyer, I am almost always going to refund them, refund their shipping, all of it, even if it's not warranted, so that I don't have that negative feedback. I probably jump the gun quite a bit on doing things that wouldn't be necessary just to protect perfection. And here's the reality of it is, with this new change, I'm probably going to get some negative feedback at some point that I can't get removed. And I feel like I've always been perfectly okay if I got negative feedback and it was warranted. I really, truly, even today, reflecting on this, I don't think that's an issue for me. I feel like I will react to that pretty well. If I earned a negative feedback, I didn't ship something on time, or I messed up and I sent a broken item. I can't think of something offhand that I wouldn't tend to anyway, but let's say that I just earned negative feedback. It's warranted. I don't think that'll bother me. I think when it's going to bother me is when somebody leaves a negative and there's not an outright lie or something like that allows me to get it removed, that I think that's going to stick hard with me and harder than it should. So, as I think about it, what does that mean to you? The people that I tell all the time, here's how I do it, do things the way that I do it. And the way that I have absorbed feedback is not the way to do it. I feel like the way that I feel about feedback dampens my business some, and it certainly impacts my peace. Like, it just does. I worry about it a lot. I check my feedback several times a day. And that can't be something it's not something I would ever recommend to you. Do you need to pay attention to your feedback? Absolutely. Do you need to adjust when there are customer complaints, especially if you're getting them on a consistent basis, the same kind of complaint all the time? Absolutely. You need to pay attention to that and adjust so that the customers aren't walking away unhappy. But it shouldn't become some overarching goal of yours to maintain perfect feedback. Certainly with my history and the feedback that I have, one negative is not going to have any impact on whether or not somebody would want to buy from me. It's not going to have any impact on whether or not a customer wants to look at my items. If I got one negative, my rate would still be well above 99%. When you're brand new, of course, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference because one negative, if you only have 10 feedback, is a lot. There are some positives to take away from this. I feel like I have some pretty good recommendations for anybody out there who wants to improve their feedback, because I've been good at it at every level. So first, I make sure when I list something that I do not oversell it. My listing will show the very worst of the item. I sell a lot of multiple quantity items, and when I show those pictures, it is not of the very best one in the package. It'll be of the worst one in the package. And I will ship the worst one out knowing that that's the one they saw. Everybody else that I've shipped one out to gets one that looks better than what they were expecting. I am very hesitant to use in my descriptions like new, because if it doesn't have tags, it's not like new. So I'm really, really careful about using a designation or a descriptor that would define something as better or potentially better than what I have. I don't want them disappointed. So the first step towards maintaining good feedback is to make sure you have accurate listings and don't oversell anything. And the second part of having good feedback comes after the cha-ching. Let's say that I sold something for full price, but 20 minutes before the person bought it, I started a sale or I sent out a best offer on that item. Typically, I'm going to reach out to the buyer and say, hey, you didn't catch this, but this item just went on sale and I'm going to save you $5 and send it back. It'll still go out on time. I've never had a customer complain about that, but I can picture them being upset if they bought the item and then they notice a message saying, hey, this item is on sale, get it before it's gone, and they're the one who got it before it was gone. Shipping on time is paramount. If you cannot ship every single day, don't put 1 day shipping on there. You put 2 day shipping. I don't get a lot of buyers that bristle about 2 day shipping. I really don't. I usually have 1 day shipping on my items. If I have something that I think is going to be difficult to pack and ship, I'll probably put 2 days on that. But customers don't complain about that. What they will complain about is if you put 1 day shipping and then you ship it in 2 days. The other thing that I do is I ship with a method that's consistent. So I use Ground Advantage almost for everything now. And I think some people just fuss about the post office. My post office is great, and Ground Advantage has worked really well for me. I am waiting on a package right now that I bought September 20th. They supposedly shipped it out September 21st, but it got to the post office on October 3rd, and I still don't have it. And it hasn't moved from the date that it was supposedly dropped off at the post office. I'm not the kind of person, I'm not going to leave anybody negative feedback, but other people would, and probably rightfully so. So make sure that if you're going to ship, because it showed that they shipped with some kind of FedEx Smart Post maybe, that is not, I've never even used it. Normally FedEx is 2 days. But I would be very cautious about shipping with ways that are $1 or $2 cheaper because it's really, really slow or delayed. I just wouldn't do it. And then I think the last part of it, of course, is how you follow up with people that have a complaint. And keep in mind, most of the complaints I get, they're legitimate. Somebody's just not happy with it. And I got one last week on a wallet, and his initial email message to me was kind of ugly. It was like, I think this is fake, and I want all my money back. And I got to looking at the pictures, and I think probably what happened is that he's not happy with it. It was a wallet, and it's an older wallet. It's one that probably was made in 2016, and it's real leather. It's a real wallet. But if you are familiar with leather, there are times that even an expensive wallet, I say expensive, like $70 or $80, to me that's expensive, that the leather they use can break down over time. And I'm guessing that's probably what's happening. So I send him a note back, and I'm like, hey, for reference, the wallet was $25 is what I charge for. So it's not an amount of money that's going to crush my financial kingdom. But I reach out to him, let him know, first of all, I'm genuinely sorry that you're not happy about it. Melody and I take returns for any reason whatsoever. That said, the wallet is authentic. And I said a little bit about where I got it, and that's how I know that it's authentic. And truthfully, I probably have the receipt there at the house for it somewhere. But I said it's probably because it's older. And I explained to him the exact same thing that I just said to you. And I said, so if that's the case, if this wallet's coming apart, I'm just going to refund you now and your original shipping, and you don't have to send it back to me. Here's one of the reasons I made that decision. When I look at the feedback that guy left, he has left hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feedback and not a single negative. He's not somebody to complain to try and get a refund. It was really, truly obvious from his feedback. He's just a guy who's not happy with it. So we go from a situation where a guy thinks that I sold him a fake, he's unhappy, he wants his money back, to super thankful that I took care of it that way, telling me he'll send it back on his own dime and how much I appreciate it. And I told him, surely you can find somebody to donate it to. And he had a church event coming up, and he was going to donate it there. And I think that is stuff I would always continue. Yes, part of it is that striving for perfection, but maintaining customer service, even when they're unhappy, is the number one reason I've been able to get the very few negatives that I've had removed, because eBay can see that I've done everything possible to try and take care of the customer. And I truly believe that's what eBay wants more than anything. You'll hear people say eBay is just protecting the scammers. No, they're not. Scammers don't help eBay at all. If they could snap their fingers and there was never another scam on there, they would do it in a heartbeat. What they do want to see is great customer service. And so I offer great customer service even when a transaction falls completely apart. And I think that is really, truly paramount, especially going forward with how hard it's going to be to get negatives removed, that you offer impeccable customer service. Because if you don't, you have like no chance at all of getting them removed. Not anymore. And I just think that that's the way to do that. My question for you is, first of all, I would love it if somebody would tell me I'm not the only one that stresses over feedback unnecessarily, because I know that I worry about it at a level that you don't need to. And my next question would be for those of you that are still dealing with feedback and hopefully healthier than I am. What are your concerns with the feedback system? Do you really think that eBay is supporting scammers? Because that just seems like nonsensical to me, because they don't benefit from that. I do like feedback systems in other places better. I actually like Poshmark's feedback system. Poshmark's feedback system is they send you feedback, and so like up to 5 stars, but you see it. It goes straight to you. So any ugly comment or anything like that isn't on your page. And I actually like that better. I don't mind having a feedback system, but on Poshmark's, my stress level is very, very low concerning it. Even though, get this, the first sale I ever made on Poshmark, they gave me 4 stars. If you know anything about Poshmark's rating system, nobody leaves you 4 stars. That was the first one I ever got. But it disappears into the rating overall as long as you're taking care of business. I actually like that feedback system better than eBay's. But I also feel like eBay has been really, really fair to me. And do you think they've been fair to you? If you could implement one change to the feedback system, what would it be? What would you change on eBay's feedback system? The FTC says that they can't just willy-nilly delete negative feedback, that it needs to be a part of the record. There has to be a reason that they do it. But what change would you make? Much, much more calm out here than where I filmed last time. I can just watch the cows, watch the occasional farm, look at the cotton growing, and enjoy my drive. This is by far the best leg of the drive. But I appreciate all of you that are watching. I had so many positive comments on the last Reseller Road Talk, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Appreciate you guys watching. Want to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.